Hey y'all. So let's dig back in this week into this 2 Corinthians passage. And I can already see where our threads are going for the holiday season because it's November and it will be Christmas in just a minute. It feels like I'm super already late for that. Um, I have a lot of thoughts. Hey, do you ever feel like you're always late for something? You're just perpetually late. I feel like that's me. Even though we got an extra hour, I still feel like I've already blown the hour plus the next one. um, but we're gonna move from, this is the plan currently. We're gonna move from identity from our Father into Him giving us His name, right? Oh, I'm excited about where we're going to go. Anyway, 2 Corinthians 6, that's 14 through 18. We've been talking about Paul and how he told these new believers at the church in Corinth to come out from among the unbelievers. And so that's what we looked at Zacchaeus last week, in that sometimes things work their way in or they're permitted, and it challenges or it diverts, it takes away our loyalty from Christ, and it's never supposed to be that way. And so Paul he's teaching these new believers, like, don't be unequally yoked, paired, partnered with, don't walk in agreement with those things that are not in agreement with the word, and giving ourselves permission to say no and to separate from even church people, other believers that would be walking in things that are not in accordance with the word, or that we in our spirit cannot come into agreement, come into unity with. So in verse 16, so 2 Corinthians verse 6, or chapter 6, verse 16, it says, what agreement can there be between a temple of God and idols? For we are the temple of the living God, even as God has said, I will dwell in and with and among them, and I will walk in and with and among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. I want to just focus on all of that for the next several days. But before we do, put a pin in that. That's where we are. That's where we're going. We're going to look at Joshua and Jericho. So let's go. If you're studying with me or following along, we're going to be in Joshua chapter 3. And so think about all of this. Moses has just died. The Lord has said it's time to cross into Canaan land. It's time to take your territory, your promised land. And to do that, they have to cross the Jordan River. So they've already crossed the Red Sea. Now they're moving in to cross the Jordan River in order to get into Canaan. Typically, the Jordan River would not be so difficult to cross. It's not very deep, not super wide, totally crossable. But at this particular time that the Lord has told them it's time to move, you ever feel like God tells you it's time to move at a particularly not easy time or place? So this tells us they've got to cross the Jordan River, but it was at the time that the river overflowed its banks, and it was significantly deeper and wider than it usually is. And so you can read, I'm trying to find it. It's in Joshua. We got to cross the river, but it was at the time that the Jordan River overflowed its banks. It was right before the harvest season. And so it was not really a great time to do this, but it's when God said to do it. So we do know that we are supposed to move when God says move. And usually he tells us to move at the in the natural, most inopportune times, so that he can prove and show that he is Jehovah, right? Because that's how we get to see his Godness, his God of the impossibility, creator, sustainer, all powerful, is when in the natural it doesn't make sense or it doesn't fit. And so we're going to dig into this scripture tomorrow because we're at 5 minutes, but we're going to start in Joshua 3, verse 5, and that's where I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.